Sure-fire Hall of Famer. #2 overall pick. He's lived up to all the hype and all the expectations and played on one of the greatest defenses of all time.
I remember Von Miller at the Senior Bowl that year in 2011 was abusing everybody, was wrecking everybody. Nate Solder was owning people there at the tackle position. He couldn't put his hands on Von Miller.
I saw Von Miller when he was at Texas A&M, and I saw him on film, and the one thing about Von Miller that was different than any other defensive guy that I had evaluated was the fact that he could bend the corner and run, you know, at 2.5 feet. You know, I mean, like a full sprint turning the corner at 2.5 feet. You got to understand how tough this can be, is trying to make a curve while running that low and keeping your balance. He has such a strong lower body. He's so explosive, and the guy is trending to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, that was the easiest draft pick for the Denver Broncos as far as I was concerned, and one of my happiest days on draft day that I've ever had.
The guy, I've never covered a player that was more built for his position than him. Mutant Ninja Turtle legs, has the reach of a pterodactyl, and is explosive and fast. Like, he is, if you ask me what a pass rusher should look like, it's Von Miller.
I don't think people understand the pressure that was on him when he came here to basically not only carry the defense, but carry the team. He was from day one the best player on this team. And when they got to the Super Bowl and won it in 2015, Super Bowl 50, for that game he had to be the best player on the field. And that includes the guy who was drafted ahead of him, Cam Newton, in 2011 at #1 overall. And he was all of that. He was the best player on the field. He was a Hall of Fame player that day. No one on defense in the history of the Super Bowl was better in a Super Bowl game than Von Miller was that day.
There was a time there where Broncos country had it with Von Miller. That with all the problems he had gone through with the drugs, the marijuana, the injury, there was a time, I know, I was taking phone calls from people who were well prepared and they were okay with the idea, hey, let's trade Von Miller, and they were prepared to get 70 cents, 60 cents back on the dollar for Von Miller. They were that prepared to move on.
One of the best pass rushers I've ever seen, and mind you, I played in the NFC East when I first came in and faced Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor a bunch. Like, this guy is in, when I say those names, those are names I say with great reverence, you know, and he's in that mouthful. You know, he's in with those names.
What more can you add to the Von Miller story? He only rushes the passer. He drops back in the championship game, makes an incredible interception against Tom Brady. This is a guy who offensive coordinators have to devise game plans to deal with. He's a guy who keeps offensive line coaches up at night. And at this point in his career, has started to move away from just being that young athletic guy to now being the leader of this Broncos defense.
To me, his mind is kind of like a pinball machine. He's like a football savant in a way. I mean, he obviously knows the game. He works his butt off. But off the field, he's kind of like a pinball machine. I mean, you see his Facebook show. It's a reality show, and it's just off the wall. But that's how Von is, you know, just kind of fly by the seat of his pants kind of guy.